Welcome back to the Seven Figure Flipping Podcast. I have my favorite person on with me today, co-hosting Dr. Sherry Fluellen.
Howdy, howdy. I'm excited for today. We're going to put Adam on the hot seat. So you got to stay tuned.
Okay, so this is the bottom line episode where real stories meet real numbers per usual. And we're going to bring you real world investing insight strategies and stories from our own deals and experiences in the field. And at the end of the episode, we'll answer a question from one of our very own 7FF podcast listeners. This one's going to be a good one. This is going to be a real story. So let's start off, Dr. Fluellen, with the topic of what to do when a flip is not selling. You flip the house, you put it on the market, and goodness gracious, you're not getting the activity you need.
Yeah. And honestly, I think as a listener, if you haven't had this experience yet, hold on, like it's coming. I don't know a single person that I've talked to that has been flipping for some time that hasn't had this experience. We've had it a number of times, and while I can't say that I have the perfect solution that's going to work every time, I would like to talk about just some of the different things that we've done, pick Adam's brain about some of the things that he's done, and at least give you options so that you don't have to feel like you're beholden to whatever situation you're in. So what made this relevant is right now we have a property on the market that as of beginning of December, which is a couple months away, it will actually might be November, but we're probably at 9 or 10 months since we originally purchased this property. We ended up doing a little bit more reno to it than I had expected at the very beginning, and it's sitting, which is weird because in this town it's in the not like ritzy neighborhood, but it's in middle, like the upper middle class neighborhood, and it's sitting, and it's a 2-story full basement. It's got this cute little walkout balcony on the second floor that you can have your coffee in. I literally don't understand why it's not selling, but it's been on the market. I suppose it's probably been on the market about 5 or 6 months, and this is not ideal. So what's happening is this is a flip that we had funded through I believe Kiavi, or one of those organizations that provides loans to flippers. And so the year's coming up, and if they're gonna extend it, they're gonna want some extra money, and I don't want to go there. So what are we going to do, and what have we done? I think some of the most obvious things that we're probably already doing is, all right, if it's sitting too long, then we're gonna lower the price. And we've done this multiple times. We started in our neck of the woods, we started at about 510, which there was literally a comp across the street that was also a flip, but it didn't have the size, and it didn't have a full finished basement like we have, and it sold for like 525. So I'm like, we got this. It's like a slam dunk, and it hasn't sold, and I think we're down to now about 450.
Wow.
Yeah, still not selling. I literally have no idea.
Can I ask a few questions along the way here?
Yes.
How recent was that flip comp?
It closed about 3 weeks before we got ours on the market. So very recent.
What month of the year was it that flip comp closed?
I would say off the top of my head, it was probably April.
Okay.
Because our flip has been on the market for about 6 months.
When did your flip go on the market?
It was like 3 weeks after that. Okay. After that one closed. So I mean, we know the flipper that did it. And so we were asking her, like, and then when it went under contract, we asked her, like, what is it under contract for? So we knew all the inside info before it, was officially published. And so we knew that was a relevant comp. They are different house styles. One's a ranch. Ours is like a 2-story. So they're a little bit different. And I get that there's a different
What do you
person.
think now where you are, what do you think what are the reasons for, what's your hypothesis on why?
Yeah. The only thing that I can come up with that makes sense is that it's got a slightly smaller kitchen than what a newer house would go for. Um, the way that the layout is, we can't really make it any bigger. And so, but we put new cabinets in, we put granite countertops, so it's a beautifully done kitchen with stainless steel appliances. We just couldn't make it any bigger without taking like a dining room away and having to close off a French doors to the backyard. So that was our constraint. And certainly if we were to expand the kitchen and do those things, that was like would way blow the budget.
I like to I like to diagnose the problem through this lens. Um, and as even when I'm going into a flip, which I think we're about to buy one Monday and we have another one closing next week. And we're thinking about what are we going to do to get the number we want to get? This is what we think it will support. And one of the questions and discussions that we had was like, what I don't want to do is underdo it. Like I don't want to do a little bit and then be like, this is enough to get it sold at that point. And then it goes on the market, buyer feedback comes in and we're like, oh, we should have did this. And then we do it. And we waste a bunch of time. So like, I think through that lens, I'm always thinking about the end, like all the problems I'm going to have when I start. So when I diagnose this problem, I think about price. Am I priced appropriately for the area? Am I underpriced on other things? Presentation. And these are all things I know you know. And JP is one of the best agents in the country, brokers in the country. So photo, staging, curb appeal, right?
Yeah.
Presentation. The product itself, that's kind of what we're talking about with the kitchen.
Yeah.
Does the renovation level, layout, and all that stuff beat buyer expectation? So the product itself, like what is it about the product, right? And in your case, you're talking about there's a house across the street that flipped and sold for more than I'm going to list my house for. And I actually think my house is better because I have a finished basement and I have a bigger square footage, I think you said, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we get it wrong.
Yeah.
The buyers are going to tell us. And then the other two things that I think through are promotion. So like, is the listing getting enough traffic? Okay, traffic is the start of this. But this is marketing. You put a house for sale, it's marketing.
Absolutely.
In order for the house to sell, people have to see it. Okay, cool. How many people see it? If people see it, the next part of the marketing is how many people come in person to see it from online. We call those showings, obviously. And then from there, it's how many people are willing to make an offer on the property, regardless of price, right? So online views, showings, kind of where I start. And then positioning is the last P for me, which is how does my home compare to other homes and the prices? And I say that because we underwrite the house, we do all the analysis 6 months before we ever list it. And we're looking at last 90 days, typically. More recent, the better. But then we go through this journey, rehab for 4 to 8 weeks, and then we go on to a listing for another, I guess, months now for you guys. So from a positioning perspective, I'm looking routinely at the other properties, how they're transacting, what's pending, what's selling, how I'm like isolating the product. Like, oh my gosh, this property sold in short amount of time at this price. Why? Like, why did this property sell like that? And then obviously juxtaposing that onto what would be your current listing to say like, all right, where is this property not meeting the mark and what can I do? I'm not sure if that helps you, but that's how I look at it. Kind of, I like to do things that I can remember. So I think about it in the P's. So it's price, presentation, product, promotion, and positioning for me.
Yeah, those are fantastic Those are fantastic peas, Adam. Thank you. And really valuable. So these are all things that we should be thinking about. I still am stumped on this property. We significantly improved the curb appeal. It's been painted. We had to rip out some bushes in front. We redid some of the sidewalk. It's got this cute little courtyard before the front door. I walk in and you have like a 2-story living room that's got, it's got a cool 80s feel, which uh, maybe some people don't like. So I am literally stumped and I don't know. We have lowered the price obviously multiple times. We do open houses on this almost, if not every week, at least 3 weeks a month, which for us is important to have open houses. Although, to be fair, usually open houses are more to get new buyer clients than actually selling the house. But there have been occasions where because we're agents, we do open houses on our own houses, and we've gotten buyers for that specific house more than once. So it's been really valuable because then we're not having to pay any other agent's commission. So open houses are helpful. There's certain different things that we can do to entice more people to come to an open house. We can offer food. We often do a gift certificate drawing and things like that. Broker open houses are an option. So if you have your house listed somewhere, you can have the agent hold an open house for other realtors. That's very common. So then that way it's not just the potential homeowner that's seeing, but the potential agent. You can offer incentives. And honestly, I still, at least in our market, I don't have a good grasp on or a solid understanding on how effective that incentives are. And incentives can look a lot of ways. Two of them that we see the most in our market, and this is probably similar. One is an incentive to the potential homeowner, the buyer, and maybe it's a certain amount, like $10,000 towards your closing costs and prepaids, which might mean a buy down of their interest rate. The other one is an incentive to the agent, maybe like $3,000 bonus on top of their commission if it gets under contract within a certain period of time. I still don't have enough feedback to say one or either of those is really effective because here's my mindset. You tell me, Adam, what you think. If I'm offering, hey, I'm going to give $10,000 towards closing costs and prepaids, but my price, people are still searching, they have a window of their price that they're searching for. They're not going to add an extra $10,000 to their search feature with the assumption that there's going to be a $10,000 incentive that brings them back. So my mindset is I'm still like maybe missing the right buyers if I'm not changing the price, but I'm just changing the incentives. What are your thoughts, Adam?
I'm not sure. Okay. My thoughts are I like data.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure like our MLS, your MLS, you can pull transaction data per price point.
Yes.
So I want to look at the data and say, what is like, if I compare, 100 to 200K price point, how, like in the last 90 days, how many transactions have happened? What's the percentage of sales price things are selling at? So if I list for 200K, are they selling at 96% of that? They're going 4% under, meaning the price is coming down or people are overpricing. 200 to 300, 300 to 400, 400 and above.
Yeah.
400 to 500, 600 and above, depending on what the different kind of what area you're in. And what does that tell you? Like, do I just have a much smaller buyer pool between 4 and 500 or 500 and 600, which is the two price ranges you're in, compared to maybe that 2 to 400K range? And if that's true, if the amount of people who could potentially buy it is less, is it more or less likely that it takes me longer to sell? So what do I see for days on market? Mm-hmm. Is that number going up or is it going down? So like I just kind of start there to form my personal hypothesis. Sometimes it's this balance between price and time.
Mm-hmm.
We put a house on the market. People still today in our community, especially our runway community, will say, I put this house on the market, it's not selling. I'm like, cool. How long has it been on? They're like, 13 days. I'm like, what's the average days on market in that zip code for that price range? They're like 62 days. I'm like, cool, call me back at day 62 and I'll help you. So they want to drop prices like so quickly. I'm only going to drop prices if I'm not getting traffic, meaning I don't have any showings. If I put a property on the market today and I get crickets, I overpriced it almost certainly, right? If I put it on the market and I'm getting Zillow views and likes and hearts and I'm getting showings, I priced it right. I just don't have a buyer. So now I've got to exercise some tactical patience and then think about, when do I need to do the price drop? I have a hypothesis that when you price drop, when you get into a price drop, it creates a psychological effect on the buyer. Why does that property keep going down? Is there something wrong with it? There's all these things that I think are intangible that it then makes it hard to sell it, period. So for me, as I think about it at that kind of macro view, couple of things. I had this happen to me. I ended up exiting it in a different way, but a couple of things are redo the pictures. Like before you price drop it, let's redo the pictures. Or if I'm not getting traffic, let's redo the pictures. Let's go get new photography, or let's reorder the pictures, right? Are we putting the right things in there first? I have also dropped it from my current agent or brokerage that I was using and brought on a new agent or brokerage, not because I think they're bad or they couldn't sell it, but I know as a marketer, I've got to get the attention I need. So I need those days on market or those Zillow days to reset.
Yeah.
So how can I get the Zillow days or the days on market reset? I want to do that. So I just go through these evolution of things that are all decided based on the data that I'm seeing. I don't have a good solution for you, Sherry.
There is no perfect solution, but
there's no perfect solution.
It's so helpful because it is important that we consider all of these things in the scenario. I love the updating pictures. One of the things, we had another property that I thought was going to be hotcakes. It was right outside city limits. It was on an acre, which means no covenants. So somebody could have a chicken farm. They could build, and like have it, be one of the guys that has some sort of construction company, and they could keep all of their like crazy big equipment out there. I mean, you could do whatever. And it didn't sell for quite a while, much longer than average days on market. And my assistant convinced me that maybe I picked the wrong color of for the house. I thought it was amazing from an artistic perspective. Like, I didn't go crazy wild, but I picked this really vibrant blue that I thought was just inviting, given the sky and the area around it. We live in a town that's not super green, so I was like, oh, it's got some vibrancy. Well, we repainted it. Now, I can't say that the repainting of the color is what did it, but we did a much more muted blue, so it was kind of more gray, and I'm like, blah. But eventually it sold. I don't know if that's really what did it, but we had that extra expense, and so we gave it a shot. Adding staging is another thing when you're thinking about redoing your pictures. If you don't have staging, add staging. Still jury's out in all the markets we're in. If digital staging versus in-person staging, which one is better? I don't know. But yeah, so there's a lot of things.
Well, I think they serve two different purposes, Sherry.
Yeah.
Two totally different purposes. Virtual staging, meaning it only shows up in the pictures.
Yes.
Gets traffic, gets attention. Physical staging helps somebody who comes in person, once you've got the traffic, to realize what is possible in the space. I think those things for me, they serve two different purposes. Now, the cool thing about physical staging is it can serve both purposes.
True.
Because it's already there. But virtual staging is just to get traffic to the space. Now, when I would decide to use one or the other would be if I felt like the layout and everything was good in the space, I would potentially do virtual staging. If I felt like it this house is unique. Unique's usually not good for house flippers. And somebody would need to visualize themselves in the space in a way that made sense. Then I for sure am going to do some physical staging, because the last thing you want, and I talk about this all the time, layout is so critical in a house in this market. Is somebody come and go, this is a wonky layout. Would I rather somebody come in and go, oh, I like how they set this up. That's really cool. Then they start to see themselves in the space. It's really marketing to me. Yeah. It's less, I'm thinking about how the potential buyer is going to feel, because people are buying houses on emotion, believe it or not. It's like two things. One, how much monthly payment can I afford? And then they're going to make their decision based on emotions. I love this house. That's what people say. I love this house. Love is an emotion.
Yes.
It's not a logical buy. I mean, there's some logic to it. I got 3 kids. I need bedrooms. Okay, cool. But they're already filtering out all the logic when they start to put filters on the internet to determine what size, rooms, price point. They've already done that. Your job's all emotional. I have to create an emotional, I got to drive traffic into the house, and I got to create an emotional attachment. What is that going to be? This is why things like, a little nice wall with, the accent wall, or like a piece that people walk in and go, wow, that's really cool. The rest of the house can be bog standard flip stuff. But one piece is the purpose of that big one piece, whether it's a fireplace, you do something unique on a fireplace, or an accent wall or something, is to make that emotional attachment fast.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. I like that. I really love this house.
Love that. That's really good advice. So if we're at a point where it's not selling, we've done everything we believe we can do, and it's just stagnant, let's talk about what are the options to go from here. We could continue to ride it out, and we've done that on some properties to the tune of then losing money when we go to list. And I'm not interested in doing that. If we can avoid it, right? Like, I'm not into the flipping game because I want to give people money. So what we're doing with this one is we've decided we're taking it off the market, and we're refinancing it. We're refinancing it onto a more of a traditional rental type loan, and we're going to rent it out. And I don't know yet if we're going to be break even on the rental, if we'll make 100, or if we'll end up losing 100 a month. But the reality is, I'd rather lose 100 a month right now than to take a bath of 15, 20, 30,000 on the price. So we're going to let it ride for probably 9 months and try again in the spring, unless we find the most amazing renter and we end up, it's just a really good fit. But when
here's if you're so blessed to have that option to say, you know what, if it breaks even, lose $100, like, I think a lot of people would be freaked out. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to pay money monthly. It's like, right. Except for the difference is, instead of writing a $30,000 check at the sale of the property, you actually probably have $80K or more in equity sitting in that property. So your equity, which goes to your net worth, which is part of your value, is still there. You just have to find a better way to realize it. So I'm going to eat that $100 a month. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to bring it back to the spring season, see if I can recapture it. Mm-hmm. Or the beautiful thing about real estate is, the longer you hold it, the more the debt gets paid down, the higher the value goes over time. It's unequivocal. You can't argue it. The higher the value will go over time. And ultimately, you'll realize your money if you can hold it long enough. No OG has ever said, I wish I didn't keep any of the properties I kept, and I wish I sold more. They all say, what's your biggest regret? I wish I would have kept more real estate, because it went up and I sold it, but then it went up, 10 more times over 30 years. Like, of course, that's what it's done for the last 100 years.
Love it.
So I like it.
Yeah. So what I think is helpful is as a flipper, I do think it's important for us and for me to have consistent conversations with the companies, with the individuals in the companies that, I'm assigned to or whatever, to have these conversations so I know what are the interest rates like right now? What are the programs that they have that are like the BRRRR? What are these things so that when I get to this position, I don't have no information to work from and I'm scrambling, like, is this possible? What does this look like? If I can kind of stay on top of what that looks like the whole time, and anytime we have a property, then I'm a little better positioned to pull that trigger quicker because I know I've got the facts, I've got the data to say, okay, I know what this looks like, and I'm willing to jump into being a landlord in that property for a period of time.
Yeah, I love
Adam,
it.
you have a property that I'd love for you to share just for a little bit. So what I talked about was proposing, I'm going to put a long-term renter in there. But you did this with a short-term rental, right?
Yes, I bought I had a lead come in that was just outside of my market. I was mostly in Pensacola, over the border in Alabama, Fairhope, Alabama. Great city. It grew crazy in COVID. Really quaint, cool place. Bought it for 295,000. Put too much money into it. Had a bunch of snafus on the rehab, and um, I put it up for sale for. I thought I could sell for 415 after rehab. I ended up putting it up for sale based on an agent's recommendation for 459, I believe. And we basically spiraled down to about 360 over 12 months. And I was like, that's insane. By the way, I had appraisals over 400K on it. I got my own appraisals on it. So I knew it was worth more from a value perspective. And I'm like, well, I have two options. I can sell this house and write a $70,000 check to my private lender. Or no, I mean, pay my private lender off and write a $70,000 check to this person buying it, basically. Or I could just refinance it because I know the value is plus 400 plus, and I'll have 80 grand in equity. But now I got to solve the payment because this is in like a coastal place. The insurance is high, flood insurance, all that. So the payment on it's like $3,200 a month. I mean, anything north of 3K is like hard to cash flow or even break even. So I thought, you know what? This is a cool area. I'm going to do a little more work to this thing. I'm going to make a cool Airbnb out of it. Couple reasons. One, because I think it can bring in 5 or 6 grand a month and then I'm good to go. I just hold on to it. And also so I can tell my friends who do Airbnb, it's not even that hard. And just prove that I'm a better hospitality guy. So I did that, and it does produce 5 to 6 grand a month, and it does cover the debt, and it's pretty easy. It's mostly automated. Short-term rentals aren't that hard. I don't know what people are talking about. And I think it was like within the first 90 days, I had superhost status. And it's all automated too. So yeah, so easy peasy. So I decided to create a short-term rental out of it to cover the debt, protect my equity. And I don't want to keep the house. I never plan to keep the house. I got it performing as a short-term rental. I will sell it. I'll sell it right now to a hospitality person if they want it, just for whatever it appraises for. But I'm going to get at least some portion of my equity back out of it when I do that. I'm not in a rush to do it. I don't really, if it happens, it happens. If not, no big deal.
Yeah. Great example of pivoting and figuring out your resources and, what do you need to cover in order for this to make sense for you. So I love that. I love that example. Yeah, really good.
I think we should go to the Ask Us Anything segment. Are you with me on that?
Let's go.
As a new investor, I feel like the biggest challenge isn't just learning the strategies, but managing the mental side, the fear of making mistakes, the stress of uncertainty, and the pressure of wanting to succeed fast. How do you recommend we build the mindset and mental resilience needed to handle the ups and downs of this, real estate game? Thanks.
Let's hear your genius.
Oh my gosh, I was going to say, Dr. Sherry Fluellen, this is all you. How do you deal with the fears of making mistakes and the pressure and the uncertainty, and I don't know everything. What if I fail? What if I fail?
No,
What do
it's when you fail.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a journey. First of all, I feel like I need to preface this whole answer, whether it's my answer, and I guarantee this will be consistent with what Adam has to contribute from his experience, is that this is a journey. And as a journey, there's not a single destination, and there will absolutely be wrong turns. There will be potholes, hopefully not sinkholes, but maybe sinkholes if you're in Florida. There are going to be challenges. And it's about what are your expectations and what are your expectations? Your expectations are really going to set the stage for how you interpret everything that happens, because the things are going to happen. I mean, if you've listened to any of the podcasts previously, you have heard stories after stories of failure and money lost and people falling on their face, having to apologize. Like, this is just the way that it is. It's life. Nobody is perfect. And so if you're coming into this journey of real estate investing expecting that everything is going to go well and there's not going to be any oopsies, uh-ohs, oh crap moments, you're setting yourself up for a really big challenge. So I would just like to set the stage that your expectations of how you think things are going to go is really the place to start. Now, there's lots of books, lots of really good books on how to start shifting your mind to seeing when things don't go ideal, to seeing that as a gift and as an opportunity to grow. And that, for me, honestly, I mean, I've been a psychologist for almost 2 decades. And interestingly, it wasn't until I was probably 8 years in that I actually started to notice my own challenges with how I was thinking about things. Like, I was helping people left and right, but I didn't even see for myself that I was extremely perfectionistic and I was really hard on myself, and I would do something in the business that I owned and it didn't work out, and it totally impacted how I felt about myself and how I saw myself and my identity. And I've been working on that myself, and I'm still working on it. And I say all of this because this isn't a perfect journey. And if you're a new investor and you're already thinking, oh my gosh, what if I screw up a deal? What if I lose money? What if my wife or my parents or my in-laws or my friends or my buddies at work find out that I didn't have this perfect deal, or I'm losing money on something? I mean, that's probably going to happen. And so expecting that that's not going to happen is really setting you up for extra challenges. The question is, how are you going to deal with that when it does happen? And having some great conversations with mentors and people who are already doing this is kind of the key. Because if you stay stuck in your own thoughts, like it's like a murky pool that has no freshwater inlet or outlet, it will stink and it will grow disgusting things, and that's your brain. That's where you're living. So by being able to have these conversations with people that are investing, that have made failures, that have done all these things, you're going to start to find that their perspective, their fresh perspective, will start to influence your perspective and your expectations, so that it's a little bit more in line with what reality is going to be. I'm
going to answer this question by asking a question.
Love it.
Here's what I would ask. What if I guaranteed you that in either 5 or 10 years, you don't know which one, you will have a real estate portfolio that produces $30,000 a month in passive income, and you will be actively turning deals with flipping or wholesaling, and you'd have a business doing over $1 million a year. But what it took to get there was simply this. You start today and you do not quit until you hit that 5 or 10 year mark. But I guaranteed when you hit that 5 or 10 year mark, you would have those things. Would you start today? And would you go on that journey knowing that at every turn of challenge, there was a better outcome in the future? Would you do it? Guaranteed your success. Would you do it? Would you be willing to go through the gauntlet? Because everybody you see on the internet that's showing HUDs or checks or cars or houses or whatever, they're already at that 5, 10, 20-year mark. They went through the gauntlet to get there. And the expectation that Dr. Llewellyn so eloquently said that I see so many people do is they go, in the next 12 months, I will. Mm-hmm. In the next 12 months, you're really just starting. You're really just starting the journey. 12 months, we think in all these short terms, it's so destructive to our mindset. Because the reality is we will make tons of progress in a 12-month stretch, but we rarely get to the end goal in 12 months. The end goal is long-term. It's long-term. And what's the most beneficial part about it is not that in 5 years, you will have all this real estate, make all this money. The most beneficial part will be who you become in the process of doing that. And that is where the real growth happens financially, fitness, faith, family. Like you will have to become somebody else. And that's the growth that supersedes, way more important than the money. You'll make the money. Making the money is not even the hard part. It's not even the hard part. So if I guaranteed you at the 5 or 10 year mark, you don't know which one, that if you just do not quit and you do the things along the path that I tell you to do, you will succeed. Would you do it today? That's how I'd answer that question.
Adam, hearing you share that really reminded me, it made me think of my journey as a parent. When I'm sure a lot of parents have had the similar experience, but I'll just share from my experience. I knew that being pregnant and giving birth was going to be hard. I didn't know how hard, but I knew it was going to be hard. And I knew that it wasn't over at the hospital. I knew that that was only the start of 18 years of moments of joy, but a lot of frustration, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of tears, just really hard stuff. And I'm still in it. I'm still in it. I've got 4 kids. None of them are 18 yet. I'm still in it, but I haven't given up because it's important to me. This is part of my identity, part of who I am. I am a parent that is going to do whatever I can do to be my best. And I apologize to my kids when I screw up. And I can do the same thing in my business. I can expect it 18 years from now. Things are going to be amazing. We're going to have this transition, but it's going to be hard. There's going to be times where I fall on my face. I make mistakes. I'm going to have to apologize to people. It's not perfect. It's far from perfect, but it's worth it. Just as being a parent is worth it intrinsically, deep in my soul, if you can have that same belief and that same attitude about your investing journey, that this is deeply worth it to your soul, you won't give up, just like you won't give up as a parent.
Love that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for that part. That segment's, I love getting those questions. It's amazing. So let's go to the final segment with the What was your one takeaway?
What was my one takeaway? Oh, so there was one little tactical nugget that I realized I think we did once, my husband and I did once, but we could do it again. And that is, you talked about firing a brokerage or an agent and going with another one. And I'm like, well, we're not going to fire ourselves, but I can fire my husband and we can list it under me because we're both licensed, at least right now. So that came to me. I was like, okay, maybe, and I know we have done that before, but that's not something that's necessarily on our playlist for when this scenario happens. So really developing, not a playlist, a playbook. So really developing a playbook for when we hit a certain timeline of days on market based on what we expected, having a plan in place that we're going to implement, I think would be extremely valuable. And that being one of the pieces, I think will be good. So that's my takeaway. That's my tactical nugget for today.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Mine was the, just what, every time you talk about expectations, I'm reminded that your lens in which you view things come through what you expect to happen. Like expectations really do contribute to a lot of the good and the bad. So for me, I lack self-awareness often. I'm trying to work on that. So just like at minimum being self-aware of what my expectations are so that I can potentially work on mindset around those expectations or adjust my expectations to be appropriate for the thing. So I always love it when you talk about expectations. I feel like it's such a powerful lens to think through mindset from. Okay. It's been another great episode of The Bottom Line. So thank you so much, Dr. Sherry Flewellen. You are the world's greatest house flipping psychologist in the country. And I said world's greatest in the country, so I don't know what's going on there, but you're the best in the world, okay? You're the best in the world. And I'm super grateful to have you on the show. And for anybody who's listening, if you feel, we talked about the journey and the challenge of the journey. And Dr. Flewellen talked about, walking with someone. If you feel alone as an entrepreneur, like I know a lot of people who they're on this journey, like their family doesn't get it, maybe their spouse doesn't get it, but they're really committed to that growth. If you want somebody to walk with you, just reach out to us. We could be a good fit to walk with you. You could be in this community with Dr. Flewellen, me, and hundreds of other real estate investors who are high value, high character, some of the best investors in the country. We get to walk this journey together. And to me, that's why I'm here. That's the most powerful thing for me. So if you feel called to walk the journey with somebody, feel free to reach out to us. There'll be a link in the show notes where you can do that. And we'd love to just talk to you and see if we're the right people for you to walk the journey with.
Adam,
Thanks for Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Can I just quick share one more analogy?
Please.
Because I think they're so helpful. Imagine going to the gym for the first time, hitting it hard, and then the next day you can't walk because of how hard you hit it. But you had no idea that the muscle pain the next day was normal. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to go back to the gym before because something is wrong. Versus the expectation of going to the gym, knowing that the day after you're going to really hurt. When that day comes, you're like, sweet, I know I really hit it because I'm feeling so much pain. That's the difference of expectations. And so when you know what's going to come up because you're in community with other real estate investors, when you know the pain that's going to come up, you can celebrate that pain because you know that's part of the journey rather than being surprised by it and then thinking that it shouldn't be there.
Yep. I love it. Come on, you can join us. Excuse me. Okay. Thank you for that analogy. I agree. Gosh, I'm just thinking of, they got this thing called DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. You do a really good workout and you're so sore the next day. Oh, yeah, that's good. Thanks for tuning into this show. Sorry for dragging it out there at the end. If you want to talk to us, click the link below. I'll see you on the next one.
Bye.